Alright, so we're moving on to section 7.5, which is using elimination to solve a linear system. So solving by elimination is a process used to solve a system by eliminating a variable so that you only have to work with one variable. So in substitution, we substituted out a variable. In elimination, we're eliminating a variable to get an answer in the other variable. So let's take a look. Here's example 1. Solve this system by elimination. So what we need to do first is we want to get one of our variables to be the same number, but the opposite sign as the other equation. So for example, if I want to get my x's the same, I need to get these both to 15, because that's the next multiple that they both go into. So again, I want them to be the same number but opposite signs so that I can add the equations together and get rid of it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to multiply everything in equation 1 by 5 and multiply everything in equation 2 by -3. Again, I'm trying to get the x leading coefficients to have the same number in front, but opposite signs. So then all we're going to do here is add these together. So when I add them together, the 15 and the -15 will eliminate. So we look at our y's, and when I add the y's together, I get a -2y, and then my equal to sign stays in the same place that it was, and when I add my other numbers, I get an 11. So when we divide out that -2, we just get our y to equal -5.5. Now from here, it's just like substitution. You're going to take your -5.5 and you're going to plug it back in for y in one of your equations. Does not matter which one. Just plug it back in for y in one of your equations. Here, following just solving, we multiply to get 22, move it to the other side. So we end up with 3x equals -15. Divide out your 3, so x equals -5. Remember though that you should always write your solution as your x and then your y. So in this one, your solution is -5 and -5.5 for your y. Let's try another one. This one's not on your sheet, but this one should be a super easy example because step 1, where you have to do your multiplying, is already done for us. Because if you look, both of your x's are the same number but with opposite signs. So that means we can go right into our elimination. So we can jump right into the elimination step where we add each term together. Also notice, you guys, how everything's lined up nicely. The x's on top of the x's, the y's on top of the y's, the equal to signs, and the constant. Everything's lined up nicely. Okay, so we can just add them going down. So your -4x and your positive 4x will eliminate. Your -2y plus your 8y is going to give you 6y. Your -12 plus your -24 is going to give you a -36. So we've eliminated the x's and now we're only dealing with y's. How do we get the y by itself? Divide the 6, right? So we're going to get y equals -6. Okay, that's one of our answers. So now let's take that y is -6 and we'll plug it back into one of our equations. It does not matter which one. I like the second equation better because there's less negative signs. Sometimes that makes things easier. So here we'll go 4x plus 8 times -6 equals -24. So we'll get 4x minus 48 equals -24. Again, we're just trying to get the x by itself, so I'll add the 48 to the other side because you have to do the opposite. So we get 4x equals positive 24. Almost done. We'll divide out that 4. So we're going to get an x equals 6. Remember then that you always have to write your answer as a coordinate. So your x is 6, your y is -6. So let's look at this one next. We have a -2x minus 9y equals -25 over -4x minus 9y equals -23. So if I look at my y's here, they match already. But remember, it's best if we do this with the opposite sign. So I'm going to multiply one of these by a -1. It doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to multiply the bottom one all by a -1. So that means when I rewrite this, the top hasn't changed. But the bottom, when I multiply -4 by -1, we'll get a positive 4. a positive 9y, and then a positive 23. So multiplying by the negative is going to change all my signs positive. So from here, all we have to do is eliminate. So I can see that my minus 9y and my plus 9y are going to eliminate. Looking at my x's, I have a minus 2 and a positive 4x. So I'm going to get a positive 2x when I add those together. My equal to sign is over here, and minus 25 plus 23 is going to give me a minus 2. So again, my y's have been eliminated. All I'm left with is 2x minus 2. Finish it off by dividing out your 2. So we get an x is a negative 1. Now that I know x, how do I find y? Plug it back in. So let's plug our minus 1 in for our x. I'm going to plug it into the top equation. It doesn't matter which one. Minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 2. And then we can subtract the 2 over. So minus 9y equals minus 27. Divide out your negative 9. So y equals positive 3. So our answer is a minus 1 and a positive 3. Okay, so let's see how we did on this one. This one, number 9, we are going to multiply the top one by 7 so that the y's end up matching up. When we eliminate the y's, we'll just get 45x equals 45, and then we can divide out the 45 to get an x equal to 1. Now once you have your x equal to 1, we can find the y by putting x back into our original equation. But be careful, you guys, you have to put it into the right spot. It has to go into the x. So we get 5 times 1 plus y equals 9. So when I subtract the 5 over, we're going to get y equals 4. So your answer should be 1 and 4 for that question. Okay, so we're going to go then to example 2, which is kind of that ugly fraction question. When I see the fractions here, I have it divided by 3, and I have it divided by 2. So the common denominator here would be 6, because both 3 and 2 go into 6. So I'm going to multiply everything by 6 in order to get rid of fractions, because we don't like dealing with fractions, especially in elimination. So when I multiply 2 times 6, I get 12, and divided by 3, so I end up with a 4x. Now here we have half times 6. Half times 6 is going to be minus 3y, because there was already a minus sign there in the question. So again, it's just 6 times 1 divided by 2 is 3. And the final part on the other side is 4 times 6, so 24. So now my equation looks really nice, and I don't have any fractions. So that's even better. Let's try the same thing for the next equation. What would I multiply this next one by? 4. 4, right? We're going to multiply everything by 4 because 2 and 4 both go into 4. So that would be the least common multiple or the common denominator. So here, when I multiply half times 4, I'm going to get 2x. A quarter times 4, I'm going to get just minus 1y. And then 5 times 4 is 20, but divided by that 2 means it's going to equal 10. Again, 5 times 4 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. So again, I have another really nice equation without any fractions. So now we have to do elimination. So I'm going to multiply the bottom all by negative 2 to get minus 4x plus 2y equals minus 20. Again, each piece is going to get multiplied by that negative 2 so that something lines up nicely and we can eliminate our x's. So again, we're just lining things up nicely so that we can eliminate. We have a minus 3y then and a plus 2. So when I add those together, I'm just going to get a minus 1y. And 24 minus 20 is going to be positive 4. Almost done, but you can't have a minus in front of the y, so we're going to divide that out. So we should get y equals negative 4 for our first answer. So negative 4 is our y value. If you have y, how do you find x? You plug it back in, yeah, you plug it back in. So I'm going to go to my first equation. It does not matter which one. We get 4 times x minus 3 times minus 4 equals 24 because I'm putting the minus 4 into the y spot. So this becomes 4x plus 12 equals 24. Subtract the 12. So 4x equals 12. Divide out that 4 to finish it off. So x equals 3.